In Corporita Bonanza, with Hanan Awad, we will talk about several topics, and we will meet successful people and experts in many fields to learn about their success stories and learn from them how to empower ourselves and stimulate our creativity. We will also review important books that enriched our lives. This program is for you, whether you are an employee or searching for your next big opportunity, or managing a business, or a student, or a parent. I'm Hanan Awad. The world is my canvas, and success is my paint. Connect with me and my guests at president@corporita.ca. In Corporita Bonanza, we will learn from each other, and we will grow together. Remember that kid at school who did not do well and hardly learned anything? Maybe he had some sort of a learning difficulty, or maybe she was sad because her parents were yelling at each other every day, or maybe because that guy at class was bullying them, or simply because they were hungry. Hunger is the unexpected reason for some learning challenges. Many studies linked kids' diet to learning difficulties. Issues such as food security and accessibility are discussed in new lights. Well-nourished students have better chance to learn. Statistics show that at least 1 in 10 students go to school without enough food. Not having breakfast in the morning and enough food to sustain kids throughout the day doesn't only affect their learning abilities, memory, and focus, but also put them at risk of type 2 diabetes. With the absence of a national food program at schools, many kids, especially in high-risk neighborhoods, go to school hungry and might drop between the cracks of our educational system. Children nutrition has many polarized statistics. While children obesity has tripled in the past 3 decades, third of elementary students don't eat breakfast in the morning. To investigate the situation further, Corporita Bonanza met with Brian Banks, the Community Development Officer at Nutrition for Learning, a non-for-profit organization based in the region of Waterloo. The aim of Nutrition for Learning is to ensure that our kids at schools get enough nutrition throughout the day. Thank you so much, Brian, for being here with me to talk to Corporita audience. Brian, you are the Community Building Officer?
Community Development Officer for Nutrition for Learning.
Yes. And personally, I knew about Nutrition for Learning many years ago when my kids were at school and they came home and they wanted to go to that breakfast club with their friends, and I was thinking, breakfast club at school? What is this? And I researched and I found, about the organization and what you do. And before talking about the organization, I came across shocking statistics about nutrition for kids, how they are malnourished, and some of them are obese. Many kids, they go to school without breakfast, without proper snacks, and here in Canada. So I was shocked to learn this.
It's not just here in Canada, but it's here in our Waterloo region.
Oh.
There's, and just so everybody knows, our programs, student nutrition programs, are a combination of various options, whether breakfast programs run by the school, bins in a classroom, or a pod. But all of them offer great nutrition, always 3 of the 4 food groups for anyone. For whatever the hunger moment is, whatever reason they need to reach their hand into the bowl or go to the buffet line, it's open to anyone, just so you know. Some of the shocking facts are 1 in 10 don't go to school with enough nourishment for the day, or nothing. Or nothing.
Oh.
There's also statistics that the children born after the year 2000 may not live past the age of their parents. They may go first.
Oh my God.
That's the hardest one. And please, everybody, just go look it up. This fact exists.
Yeah.
We need to change to several things: nutrition, and our activity.
Yeah.
So anything can change that way. 2 out of 5 don't bring the appropriate food for the day. I think it's something like 30% of grade 4 students skip breakfast.
Well, I was guilty of this when I was young. I had this perception that my stomach cannot withstand anything before 10 a.m. But my mother was a forceful mother, and she insisted that we get our breakfast and we get lunch with us. So what are some reasons those kids that they don't get breakfast before going to school?
Well, there's a myriad of reasons why. Some it may be scarcity, some it's time, some it's taking the wrong items, or I don't want to eat at home alone, because it's a busy world. Oftentimes people are all busy at that time period. It could be the perception, I don't want to eat now.
Oh, okay. Like me.
That also exists for many. And they've proven in some high schools that it's a little bit easier for people to eat at 10. But when you're in school at 10 o'clock, you didn't bring anything for that time period. So for some people, that's the reason. For some people, it's just that opportunity. The opportunity doesn't exist throughout the day that they didn't bring enough. I forgot to pack a lunch, or I get to take my own. And I'll tell you, the number of times I've seen a can of Coke and a bag of Doritos or chips, and that's it for the day, astounds me. And one of the great things, though, is always about success, because we see people leave the chips, pick up an apple, pick up an orange, or pick up a granola bar, or pick up some juice, or something healthy, or some cheese, and enjoy that. One of the things we've learned over the years, there are some good stats, a lot of it coming out of the States, from the American studies. And one thing, everybody, eat before a math test. You will get a better mark. Bottom line, for science, it's even higher on grades to make it. One of the interesting things about those stats as well is they can prove that there's graduation rates increase. Skipping breakfast in the morning, or eating breakfast every morning, I should say, can decrease the chance of diabetes, type 2 diabetes, by 30%. Other facts are, and these are the basics: more focus, more attention in the classroom, and that would be repeated by any teacher. So when it comes to focus and attention, any teacher will repeat that. We do see better focus and attention. And that's usually where I bring up with anybody. We as adults, has anybody in the room ever been hungry for whatever reason? A hand will go up at no matter what age.
Yeah.
And if we say, were we able to focus at that point?
No.
Yeah. We're paying attention? No.
Yeah.
Oftentimes it could be as simple as, I'm going to hold off. Even though I'm hungry, I have a meeting with such and such at 12. Oh, we'll skip that. In that half hour, are you able to focus? Pay attention, get the work done that you need. There is opportunity, though, as we've learned, though, to keep food accessible to people throughout the day, especially in the morning, for everyone. Some people need to eat every couple of hours. Some people, they might have brought more than enough food. but they're going through a growth spurt. And I was a young boy one too, or one time as well. So, I mean, you could open that fridge door and tilt it. I will be eating everything and still be hungry. So do we suffer because of that? No. Where it's about sharing. The other thing about our programs is that sense of community. Sitting around that table together. That's where family happens.
And this is actually what my kids came to me, that they want to eat with their friends. And I went there, and I believe you rented or you partnered with a church beside the school, and they went every day to the kitchen, and they gathered around the big table and they shared. And actually the options were so healthy.
Absolutely.
Yes, it was so similar to what I will feed them at home, and I'm a conscious mother, so
we find that in that sense of community, some are served in churches next door because they have the facilities, an approved kitchen. And oftentimes that's where their friends will meet. That's where they get to talk more. That's also, as you've probably seen in the past, they're more likely to try some new foods.
Yes.
That, at home, no.
Yes.
Somebody else gives it to you. Sure, I'll try that.
Yes.
One of the most interesting things I found, and some of these things we don't think about. The first time I saw somebody cutting up cucumbers and vegetables for the buffet line at one school, my first thought was, are they going to eat that? I'd share the vegetables later in the day, and they were saying yes, they love it. Around that table, as they're trying new foods, and we just had mentioned about trying those things like vegetables for breakfast. There's one school that serves soup on a regular basis.
Yeah.
And at first, soup, that's, that idea of lunch or supper. But really, soup is so comforting and warm and filled with vegetables.
Yes, and you can put anything, you can hide anything.
Absolutely. Smart mother.
Yeah.
Things like soup. One program, it was actually at a church program, they would have their annual turkey dinner, and there was turkey left over. So they would cut up the turkey the first year, made a little fajitas for them. And at first it was like, the kids were a little hesitant. But now it is so popular. I mean, for years after that, that was a regular thing. They loved it.
Yeah.
One would do little wraps with a chicken and some lettuce and a few other things for breakfast, and warm and comforting. Eggs are always wonderful, whether being served in the morning. We even, in some of our programs, will have hard-boiled eggs served throughout the day in various areas. And back to that sense of community, owning the program, realizing that other people want to be a part of your life as well.
Yes.
But they also see that's happening in the school.
Yeah. I like how you transformed the program from unprivileged kids in needs to be more inclusive. So you took away that stigma of I'm coming to the school, I have no food, my parents are poor. And one of the first reasons that you mentioned for why kids go to school without food is scarcity. And I was thinking, okay, if I'm a parent, there are many organizations in the country that can help, or in our region that can help people with their food supplies. So like the food bank, of course, I'm a big supporter of the food bank, some churches and some other organizations. But still, some people are struggling to cover their basic needs. Yeah.
Food insecurity in our community does exist. And sometimes when I'm talking with people, they don't understand. One of the best answers I ever received from a small group, and I asked about, what do you think food insecurity is? The hand went up, and the look directly in my eyes and says, I have no idea. I have never, ever in my life walked to the fridge
and there was no food
and expected not to see it full. However, that's just how they were brought up. Now, things happen in life. There is times, my fridge has been fuller at times, and less fuller at times in my lifetime. And there is that point where we reach out and we have a loving, caring, wonderful community that gives and shares.
Yes.
But it's often hard to ask. I also learned from a fine community social worker, it's much easier to hide the fact that you don't have enough food in your house than it is to hide the fact you don't have a phone. Because you must have one.
Yeah.
Or you must have this. Or
yeah,
you must
it's
have
really interesting. Yeah. So actually people can be in the street and hungry and kids go to school hungry, but they have all the other things. So you assume that they are okay.
Yes. And there's always assumption. I always say the world will be totally fed if we just share all the time. If we grew everything in our background with more than enough to share with somebody next door, they'll all share it.
Yeah.
And when that comes down to it, there is more than enough food. It's out there. It's a matter of access to it. Yeah. Just like when we learn to do what we do, good advice I was given, food is easy. Logistics is hard. How do you get it to people? How do we move it through? How do we open the doors? How do we make everybody feel comfortable to walk through that door to the breakfast club? Or reach into that bin where everyone feels good. Now, we can learn a lot from our students and our children because they're very good at that, at making everyone feel welcome. There are some bullies out there and whatnot, but I find they're more than willing to share.
My son comes to me and he gathers with his friends. Sometimes they share their foods, and I warned him not to do this because maybe some of the kids are is allergic or something to something that he can eat.
Absolutely.
Or vice versa. But frankly speaking, I couldn't prevent him from doing this. I can say whatever I say and they will do whatever they do. But again, to this stigma, I was talking about recently. I was in the Rotary Club, the Grand River, the Kitchener Grand River Rotary Club, and we were handing, donations to many organizations, and of course, Nutrition for Learning was one. And I don't remember the name of that wonderful lady who came to get the check, but she mentioned a lot about this stigma around not having food. So in the school community, I never thought that there would be a stigma. This is a bad word. Kids will bully each other because they don't have enough food or what?
Or feeling out of place. Or why can't I be like everyone else? Why do they always have that?
Yeah.
In some programs I've seen, in other areas, I must admit, that the treat for the special youth group was pizza. Because it was takeout. Never have takeout pizza. Or that it's a treat. Once again, being Nutrition for Learning, we're not advocating pizza or anything, but everything in moderation.
Yes.
But getting fresh fruit and vegetables is sometimes a little bit more expensive.
Yeah.
Learning to eat the best nutritious food will cost more.
Well, I came across many videos and posts saying that this is a myth, that fresh produce and eating healthy it will cost the same as non-healthy options. And now I'm puzzled. I don't know what's the right thing. I can see that you can pay for a fast food burger or something way less than you pay for a salad. And although in my opinion the salad might be fulfilling and filling, the burger is nicer and tastier. So what's right and what's wrong? Does it really cost more to eat healthier?
It is cheaper to eat unhealthy. Maybe that's a better way of saying
yes.
it. It is much cheaper to eat unhealthy.
Yeah.
I'm not giving names, but a TV dinner of all the things that we think are really good for us, and it looks great. If you start looking at the ingredients and that salt level, then oftentimes that'll be enough salt for your entire day from that one meal.
Yes.
And yet that meal is only $1. An apple could be 25 cents or 50 cents. And part of that is budgeting. Part of that is understanding how much we move forward with what we have and how do we stretch it to get as much as we can. Oftentimes when people trying to understand as we're going to the store, what do I really need? What do I really want to eat? If I go hungry, am I going to spend more? More likely. As I walk around the store, it is designed, we should walk through the vegetable aisle first and pick out what we need, then the meats, and then, the miscellaneous items. But oftentimes, as we've grown up, we've seen prepared food is so much easier.
Yes, convenience.
And I don't have time.
Yes, we buy for convenience. Especially, I'm a busy mom. I'm guilty of bringing processed foods to my house. Something that I can jot it in the microwave or the oven, and within maximum 30 minutes, I'll have dinner ready for my kids. It's a matter of convenience. And it needs effort to change the habits and the perceptions and even beliefs.
Beliefs, convenience, effort, and knowledge. How many people have really good knife skills to feel comfortable cutting up anything? I personally have all kinds of gadgets. One knife cutting up I can do just as fast as most of those gadgets. Or know what to do. What does it take to make that meal? How long will it take? Should it take me hours? They say oftentimes a half hour should do it, but do we have that knowledge?
So do you educate kids about these things? So when you offer the foods, when there are those delicious, nutritious foods available for them, do they learn anything?
What we've found is we mentor.
Okay.
We're mentoring that opportunity. We have apples. We're not serving gummy bears.
Okay.
We have oranges. We're not serving Tang juice or miscellaneous juice drink. We're looking for the best we can. And sometimes people say, well, here's some food. That doesn't meet our criteria. And as well, food is food. We have one chance or two chances a day to offer something to someone. We're going to make sure it's the best.
Okay, I like this. So if any company comes to you and say, okay, we are producing these dinner fast food or dinner boxes or something, you can refuse it.
Yes, and we do. We have some strict guidelines that we work by, and we're even making those tighter and better. Some people have heard in certain guidelines in schools. Some school boards are different. Ours is a hybrid of all of them to make sure we can give, once again, the best. Fresh is better than we're processed in any way. Depending on whether it's going to be sitting in a bin, whether it's, it might be slightly processed, but, if it's going to be a cracker, then what is the first ingredient? What are the important ingredients to make sure it's the best? It may cost us a little bit more, but will it be right for the people that are receiving it? Even the size of our apples are a little bit smaller, not because we want to give less, but we find that's the right size. If you need more, please have two.
Okay.
Because sometimes the smaller children, those apples could be the size of their head.
And they might eat some of it and they will throw the rest in the bin.
And if we can, we always try to buy locally. We work with Martin's Family Fresh Fruit Bar, and they have amazing apples, and they come to us fresh. That being said, part of that process versus fresh. Versus fresh. we try to do the best we can in the limited time we have. It's like if you're inviting friends over, do you want to do it just because it's simple, or do you want to give them your best? Okay. And once again, that's where we go. We feel good after this meal. We feel good after the apple. Where our attention's coming up. Where, without going into all the nutritionist background, make it simple. Eating fresh fruits. Do we have cheeses or something from the milk? Do we have a grain? What is the protein that we have? Because protein is very important, especially in the morning.
Yeah.
And then how do we get it to them?
Yeah.
What's wonderful about some of our breakfast programs, they're served before school, so not everybody can go to them. And that's why we have programs in the classrooms as well. So sometimes in the morning, there might be the opportunity to make fresh, make everything go. I mean, like eggs and scrambled eggs, etc. Well, scrambled eggs, middle of the day out of a bin, that's not going to work, So, the hard-boiled egg and in a cool pack, fresh that morning, that's different kind of idea. So nutrition, a lot of our nutritional guideline, well, it's set up by the Ontario government and a series of other players involved. The school boards are involved in our programs. The health department is involved, give us a lot of advice. Our schools and programs are inspected by the local health agency.
What about the parents?
The parents?
Yeah, are they involved?
Oftentimes parents are involved with helping to serve.
Okay.
When those that can give, and we invite all parents to give. Some people, one of the few things that happens all the time is a parent going, I didn't know my kids were having this program, I didn't even know it existed.
Yes.
And you go, you do, and please, if you can, please help us out, find out who's running the program, talk to your principal. Can I help out in some way? What do you need? Do you need help with a fundraiser? Do I need help telling your story? Could I give you a little bit of money? Could I bring you a case of apples once a month? How can I help you for what you need to make this happen?
So what are the challenges that you face to run your programs?
Oh, challenges. There is always the challenge of sustainable funding to make sure that we can do this. There's always it. So that's part of it. Every year we raise funds. Would we like this to be not necessary? Yeah, of course. But we found this is something that works. This is preventative. This allows people to be able to graduate, to succeed at school. And we all know how important an education is. So funding is always a challenge. But we are blessed once again with so many wonderful people willing to help. And we can always use more help. We can always use more help with volunteering in the programs in different ways, with setting up the program, perhaps in the kitchen, perhaps packing food, perhaps taking it out and serving it, perhaps you don't have time throughout the day and you want to help with some of the book work. The people are doing with receipts and do I add this up and how do I submit it? It could be somebody says, I want to help with some fundraising. I want to help you with telling your story in another way, just like you're helping us tell the story right now.
Yes, and I believe in the program because I've seen how my kids were excited, and we knew about it not because we are poor or something like this. There's nothing wrong about this, but I mean, it's the sense of community that my son felt. And we were newcomers to Canada, and it was their first year at school. And they just wanted to have more fun with the kids. And I was so happy to learn that now there are the second program, bins in the classroom. And I also learned that you are thinking, or maybe you started a pilot project of sending food with kids.
That's another organization, but they're doing great work.
Yeah.
With specific helping out families by putting some little packages together and sending it home.
Okay, so I mixed up.
That's okay. Yeah. But that's a separate organization. Our mandate is to be able to take care of what's happening in the school system. During that time period.
Frankly, before coming to Canada, I thought the Canadian schools offer food for kids, and they have cafeterias and they have kitchens. But when we came here, we discovered no, it's not the case. It's not the like in some movies from North America. Throughout the history, was it part of the school system to provide food for the kids in Canada, or it's always the parents' responsibility?
It's always been the parents' responsibility. Cafeteria has been available in high schools. We're one of the few countries in the world that doesn't have a national food program for the schools. And I highly suggest that we work more towards that idea that it's always available, always fresh, always good for everyone available, no matter the income, that everyone feels a sense of community. And I'm going to go back to that sense of community is like a sense of belonging. I belong here. I'm okay to be here. I want my friends want me to be here. My teachers want me to be here. And they come too. And then this community comes as well.
Talking about nutrition, I noticed different things and sometimes contradicting things. So, for example, the kids, they learn about the nutrition and health in health and fitness classes, but you will find kids coming with a fast food meal, and the parents went to the drive-through before coming, and they eat these meals every day, or all their lunch is consisted of a bunch of snacks, lots of tiny packages and things like that. So why we don't eat healthy? Why? We have all these programs in school, and we learn about it. We have those programs in the media. The other day, the vegan group here in the region had an assembly or something in front of the city hall. So, is it knowledge? Is it affordability? Is it accessibility, as you said, or what? What makes us eat unhealthy and suck our health out of our body?
I personally believe it's all the above, and it's always the individual answer, because everyone may have a different reason why they will. Do I eat perfectly all the time? No. Do I try? Yes. Do I know? I may know more than others. I've learned things that I had no idea from 10 years ago, and I believe, as what I'm in the conversation now, is that we're realizing we're always learning, but are we accepting? Are we wanting to? So once again, it goes back to all those various reasons. Some within our control, some outside of our control. And that's as adults, that's as teenagers, that's as young children. But the young children, there's less that it's in their control.
Oh, yeah, I like this. There's less in their control.
And that also goes by time and age, etc. So what factors could take you out of your control? To eat healthy, to exercise healthy? Is it time? Is it effort? There's so many different reasons, but it'll be an individual answer for why not or why I should. I'd like to say there's one quick answer. And I'm a guy, I would definitely always want to fix that box rather easily, but I've learned that it's not. Everything is different. Just like our programs. Our programs are different in every school, because every school is like a fingerprint. It is a different community. It has different resources. It has different objectives.
How do you decide which schools to start a program with? Is it the school that approached you, or you approach them?
Some we approached many years ago when they were identified as, should definitely be a program there.
Yeah.
We are now in 100.
High risk.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. There's 136 programs right now, and that's in 128 schools. Mm-hmm. We would like to be in all schools, mm-hmm. and our goal at the moment is to get to the other 30% within the next 3 years. Mm-hmm. So there's a program in every school. Some may be smaller programs, some are larger programs. I mean, we serve 19,000 kids today. That's an opportunity to reach out or be at some event. Mm-hmm. But that being said, it's creating more open opportunities. Mm-hmm. We want to make sure we've covered everywhere. Mm-hmm. Just because it's a brand new school doesn't mean there might be a need in there somewhere. For whatever the reason. Mm-hmm. To say there's no need is like saying, well, there's no poverty. It may not be, as we discussed, that may be not the reason that you need. And I'm gonna pick on the word apple a lot, but that's not the reason of the apple right now.
Yeah.
Let's make that apple available to everybody. Let's make knowledge available to everybody, like we do in education. We just want to make sure that nourishment is available to everybody at the moment you need it.
Mm-hmm. So, do you think that we need some sort of governmental intervention, a policy or something like this? To make sure that our kids get enough nutritional diet?
I would like to see a universal program across Canada, mm-hmm. because right now we're run by a lot of different little agencies and people that are able to help. Mm-hmm. And we're, once again, we have a wonderful group here. Our charity is run by a wonderful group of board members. We got a strong ED. We're connected with the school boards and they're on board. We have nutritionists involved, colleges, etc. Not all areas have that. Mm-hmm. And the Ontario government is also supporting us through the Ontario Ministry of Children and Youth at a certain figure. Mm-hmm. Good figure, but there's a lot more that's required. Mm-hmm. I do believe what we need is dialogue to continue from mm-hmm. government to schools to see what it can take, that it's open and available in every school across Canada.
So if we want to
and territory.
Oh, okay. If we want to end with a call to action, what will be the call to action and to whom?
Call to action is to everybody in the community. Mm-hmm. Learn more of what's happening in your school, how you can help in any way, or even understand what they may need and how that may relate to you. Even if it's just your knowledge to start is a great start. If you can help tell the story, please help us. Mm-hmm. If you can volunteer, please help us. Mm-hmm. And if you can offer a few dollars, we'd also appreciate that.
So how people can reach you?
They can reach us at Nutrition for Learners, nutritionforlearning.ca, info@nutritionforlearning.ca, or give us a call or check us out on our website.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much, Brian. I'm so happy that we had this discussion.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to Corporita Bonanza with Hanan Awad. Catch our next episode on Thursday, and don't forget to subscribe to our newsletter at www.corporita.info to receive our articles to learn everything you need to pave your way to success.